Get rich or die trying. That's a phrase that I've been saying to myself recently. And where it comes from is basically every single rich person that I know has had a particular moment where they've basically had this as an insight. I'm going to get rich or I'm going to die trying. It's often not even an emotional moment. It's it's usually kind of like an objective, just logical decision. So I'll tell you mine. I think you already know my story, but I was working my first ever full-time job. I was sleep deprived. I was addicted to weed. I was in a relationship with a girl that I didn't trust. You know, you wake up sleep deprived. It's cold and wet outside, and you have to wear like, like gay uniform and gay little professional shoes and a tie and everything. Commute, taking public transport like a fucking peasant. Sometimes there's like crackheads on the tram, or sometimes I'd go super early and it's just dark and there's no one there. It's just like a dystopian reality. Do my work shift, try and fast walk back to the tram to try and get the earlier one, but often miss it because you just don't get there in time. And then the next one, you've got to wait like 12 minutes. So you just stood there in the cold waiting to go home. And it was this one day when I was in this dark alleyway walking home where I just broke down crying. And I realized that in a very logical way, I may as well kill myself if I'm not going to change this. I need to get rich or die trying. It was a very logical, objective decision that I made that day. And I don't want your like pity or anything because obviously it worked out for me. But what the point of this message is, basically every single rich guy that I can think of, every guy I know who's like killing it, has had one of these moments where life was so bad that they had this insight. Yep, I've just got to get rich or die trying. Every single one of them. And so if you're living a shit life right now because of your finances, maybe there's a few things you can do to kind of like turn on this insight. And this video will be particularly helpful for the guys who are actually worse off, which is probably you, who are not in absolutely terrible situations. Because most guys who want to get rich, who want to level up, they're not at like, some shitty survival level where, that life is absolutely terrible. They're comfortable. That's the harder part. So I want to walk you through, if you're living a bit of a comfortable life, maybe, it's like not good enough. So it's definitely on the more negative side, but it's just not really bad enough just yet. I want to walk through autistic steps on you being able to turn on that feeling of like get rich or die trying. Because I'm telling you, it's fucking awesome to have that insight. There's a certain level of like lethargy that a man has before he has that insight. Like just imagine me in that scenario, that lifestyle where I was living in this apartment, I'm going to work full time. Imagine, my values, how I talk, my beliefs. Imagine me sat in like a 9 to 5 like office with like obese white people. Like, could you like look at my fucking physique? Like, could you imagine me fitting in there? Like, just imagine me there. You could imagine that I'm like kind of autistic with like the work. Like, I was like on the minute picking up the calls and whatever. But it was just so out of place, and with the cold outside, and it was so uncomfortable, and having to take public transport. And I have like kind of like PTSD on public transport because some guys tried to fucking stab me once on the train. So for me, it was like that was a bad situation, right? And so that's why I was able to basically feel so shit that I could slingshot past that. So that day where I got that insight, I still had to do the same thing. I still had to go to work the next day. But there was like extra zest behind it. I was suddenly putting in the pieces of to change this, like rapidly change my circumstances. So within that point of getting that insight, within like 2 weeks, I changed my full-time job to a part-time job. And then I was in this part-time job for like a week. And then after that, I changed the part-time job to a 0-hour contract where I was working in the homeless shelter. I bought a laptop and then I started to work on businesses whilst on my shift in the homeless shelter. So at like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., I'm taking my laptop there. Imagine it's like pitch black. I'm sat in like the security room, and I'd just be on my laptop learning how to like drop ship. I went through free code camp, like I was learning coding, drop shipping, flipping on eBay. I was making YouTube videos. I was writing some ebooks. I was learning animation as well. I thought that was a cool skill. There's a few other things. I was trying to be a rapper as well. Like I wrote my own little rap song. I wasn't very good or anything, but I was just like trying it. And I was basically getting paid to like try and make these businesses. So it was kind of like a godsend, like this random job that I got. So in the space of just a few weeks, I go from like a depressed, suicidal 9 to 5 worker to like this guy who's got like zest in his life, who's at his new job, overlapping the job with businesses as well. Very quickly, I'm trying businesses. Very quickly, I started to make money in them. Nothing massive, but dropshipping particularly, I started to make, I think it was, the number I remember was about £400 profit in 1 month, which is pretty fucking awesome, right? When you're like just starting off. It was like my first or second month dropshipping. And yeah, so very quickly, I was able to change up my life. And then you know the story. I moved back home, got on YouTube, whatever. So the first like 2 years of my YouTube journey from 2020 to 2022 was colored in this kind of energy of get rich or die trying. And that's why I was so consistent. I posted a daily video from sometime in like 2020 to like late 2022. It was like 2 years straight where I posted daily, which is unheard of, right? That's like fucking huge consistency. But in 2022, I just got comfortable. My life wasn't bad enough to have the same energy of get rich or die trying. I was making like $20,000-$30,000 a month. I moved over to London, and then I moved to Dubai because I didn't like London, and then I hated Dubai. So then I moved to Thailand, and I was there for about two months, and I hated that as well. So now we're like early 2023, and that's when I broke down. I fired the team. I didn't know what to do with my life, and the sort of month or two where I was like struggling, where I eventually I moved back home. That's where that idea of like, yeah, get rich or die trying came back in, where I was like, yeah, like you're sitting on a fucking golden goose. You could become an entrepreneur here. And I very quickly went from like 20K a month to 100K. And then I went up to like 200. And when I made the 200 and 100 or so, I got comfortable again. Because for over a year straight from 2023 into 2024, I made over $100,000 every single month. So in 2024, I got comfortable again, and I stopped caring about money. I stopped desiring money. I just got bored of this journey, and things plummeted because of that. And it's only now in the last honestly, in the last week that this idea of like, yeah, this shit's important. It's good for your life to have like this work that you're grinding. I'll tell you the truth. It's actually come from a girl. Like I met this female entrepreneur. We've been talking about our businesses. And when she saw mine, she was just like so excited for me. I think I really needed that energy. I said to her, like her energy was just so contagious because she was just so excited for like my entrepreneurial success. And seeing her enthusiasm for her making her money kind of like jumped it up in me, where I was like, yeah, like, you know what? When I look back over the last few years, the times where I've been making money has been the most fun times for me. And this is something I just want to make a quick point. Maybe I'll make a full YouTube video on this, but this is something that like my industry, like the self-help, self-improvement space, all those little nerds, like those teenagers hate on it. Like I realize now I had such negative views towards making money because of my audience, because of like teenagers who think that it's like scammy or wrong to make money. A lot of people think you're like a bad person when you become rich. And so I've always wanted to appeal to like the masses, like the peasants, or the people who they're just viewers and consumers. And yeah, I took on their beliefs instead of staying authentic to mine. I've liked making money. The thing is, like, if you know me enough, like I'm not a very materialistic person, but it's like a score. It's like a fun game, and that's like the high score. It kind of keeps you like when I desire money and I work hard for it, it keeps me like stable and consistent. When I stop caring about money the same way that when I stop caring about status and about, kind of like the status that comes from like winning a martial arts fight, like that's the life I'm living now. that kind of pursuit of status, of like looking cool, of making money, it kind of like hunkers you down, which is nice. Like I had ultimate freedom in the last year because I had money and stuff, I had clout, and I didn't care about getting more. And so because of that, I was like just living like a fucking white girl. Like I was just traveling around, staying in expensive hotels, hooking up, and you get my point. I was just like living by degeneracy. It's like when you don't have a pursuit to work hard for, when you don't care anymore about any kind of metric or win, when you stop seeking status, at least for me, my life actually gets worse. Like all these fucking, like, these cute little gay little books and these authors who are all gay with skinny necks and these podcasters who are all little pussies and everything. And they all talk ill of like money and status, and you should just be cute and not wear shoes and sing kumbaya and go live in the fucking forest and shit. I thought I wanted that life, and I'm telling you, like, I did achieve it. I achieved that life. You saw me. Like, I lived in the fucking mountains. I lived on a fucking farm. Many people don't know this. I went off grid. I like fucking lived on a farm for like a month, and I was like fucking bored as fuck. I was so bored. I thought that's the life I wanted. Turns out, like, being a recluse and a hermit from society is fucking boring. It's so boring. The pursuit of status and wealth is actually genuinely more fun than the gay, like, spiritual kind of non-desire. I've done both, and I'm telling you, like, it's impeccably boring not being a hardworking, status-seeking, ambitious man. I achieved the goals. I didn't need to desire any more status, and I was just fucking bored because man is meant to fucking work. There's a quote in the Bible: idle hands are the devil's workshop, something like that. Like basically, when you have free time and you're not grinding, that's when the sort of degeneracy will seep in. That's when the laziness, the sloth, the gluttony will seep in. So for me, that this was a reminder just recently, again, which was like, when I'm in one of these seasons of my life, like get rich or die trying, it's like my life just feels so much more zestful. Like I'm more social with people. I don't feel as like weird, like weird autistic weirdo. Don't feel like that. I keep myself kind of like groomed better. I'm like more confident with people. I'm just happier and smiling because I have something that kind of hooks my attention. I have something to put my manpower into. I have my projects, my business. I have like my fitness pursuit, like kickboxing. And it kind of, it constrains your life in a really positive way, because ultimate freedom, where you can do anything you want, or let's say not just where you can do it, but where you are doing anything you want, is actually not nice. Like people don't realize, let me tell you right now, this is a weird point for me to make, but you expect to become rich, so listen to this, right? When you become rich and you can do anything you want to do, you thought that was like the point of life. Let me tell you, it's kind of a curse. Like just think, why would that be bad? Why would it be bad to be rich and have all the options available? Because it causes overthinking. And suddenly you become like this fucking ADHD, fast-paced motherfucker where you're like, oh, let me try this, let me try this, let me try this. Having options is actually not good for the human brain. There was a study I saw once. What will get you more sales when you offer 3 flavors of like a snack? Imagine you're a salesman. You offer 3 flavors or 22 flavors. Anyone who's logical will tell you 22 because more flavors, so you can more customers can pick out which one they want. They'll actually get less sales with the 22. When you just offer 1 or 2 or 3 kinds of things, it kind of constrains the customer's decision so that it's kind of easier for them to make the decision on what they want. There's such a thing as like decision fatigue and overwhelm. And that's what happened to me in my life. So when I stopped focusing on getting richer and building up more status, and my life became so free that I could do whatever I wanted to, suddenly I was like this little skitsy little ADHD. Oh, let's just go to London for a week and stay in that 5-star hotel. Oh, let's just go to Amsterdam. Oh, let's just do this. Let me move to Scotland. Let me move to Dubai. Let me move to London. It's like, it was all just this fucking mess. As soon as I constrained my life again, which was like, okay, I'm going to go win this kickboxing fight. So now I have to live close to the kickboxing gym. Now I have to live close to where my coach lives. Now I have to eat in a certain way. Now I can't go to sleep past 9 p.m. Now I have to train twice a day at this time, which means that I can only work at this time. It's like that constraint kind of gives you like a bit of ease, where now it's like this structure to my day there's structure, there's routine, there's organization. That's so good for a young man because you have a goal to work towards. Being a goalless young man is fucking awful. And I think it's the same for as a full grown man when you're, like imagine you're elderly and you retire and you don't have that goal anymore. You may as well die. Like a man without a goal, a man without a mission, he may as well just crumble and fucking like dig the 6 feet and jump in right now. He may as well just fucking dig his own grave right now. That's why like getting rich is actually like a genuinely positive thing for your development because it's a goal for you to align your life to and to give you some structure. You see, like, like all these like bum kids who are in London and in like European countries who they're all just like, just fucking like little waste men, little youths, I don't know what you call them, like road men, gangsters, whatever. They're all there just being menaces to society because they don't have a good goal to focus on. If they all had a goal to become entrepreneurs, they'd be all at home, sat in front of their laptops, watching like my videos and Alex Hormozi videos and such. And they're not because they're just goalless. So now they just like ride around in the streets, littering on the floor and like harassing the local people. Having a goal, having like this desire for achievement, for accomplishment is so good for you. Don't listen to any of these little pussies who try and tell you like your pursuit and your desire to win is like a bad thing. Now you're probably thinking like, yeah, like I've not really heard anyone say that. It's when I was first grinding, like back in 2020, I only saw like people with this kind of energy. Naturally, as you achieve more than you need, that's when you naturally start resonating with some of the messages from like different podcasts or books or whatever. So just be wary of that. Like, here's my warning to you in the future. When you start making like 10, 20K a month for longer than about 1 or 2 years, you will just accidentally be like on a page or, social media channel or something of like some pussy who you actually wouldn't want to be like, who's saying like, yeah, like I don't work anymore and I just have a boring life now. But it's in like a wholesome way because people who hate their lives, people who hate their work boost the algorithm for these pussies who like basically don't want to work anymore. One thing I had to remember recently was like my work is fun. Like everyone in the world, apart from like me and my fucking boys, apart from like I don't know, 10 million people, everyone's fucking depressed. Like everyone just hates their work. Everyone thinks their work is a bad thing. And you might not think that, right? I urge you, do this right now. Like open up another tab and type this in. Type Reddit, reddit.com/r, the letter R, /anti-work, one word. Reddit anti-work. You can go Google that as well. It's basically like this massive community of people who just hate their work. I just want you to go and have a look at it because even though this is like one, niche on the internet, I would say that on average, more people are aligned to this mindset than the mindset of like work is good, success is good. Most people don't like what they do. And so for you, when you are on this pursuit of working hard to become successful, they will try and place their beliefs onto you in that they hate their lives. They've got shit jobs. They're struggling financially. And so when they see you grinding, they'll try and put it onto you because you're hurting their fragile ego, because their idea is like, yeah, we all hate work because work is just like a scam and like money is a scam and the rich people are all evil. When they see you becoming successful, when like the average person sees you becoming successful, you will like violate their ego. Their sense of like identity in the world was built up on the fact that they are not losers, but it's just like the system is all wrong. When you become successful, when you start making money over the next year, these people will try and like their like ugly head will rear and they will try and shame you for your pursuits. They will try and put you down for it. Maybe you'll post like on Instagram about your journey and you'll see someone who'll call you like a scammer or something because you make more money in 1 week than they do in 52. Maybe you'll talk about it in public one day and some middle-aged lady who's only made 20, 30K a year will say some bullshit to you. And then this is when you have to be the cute little pussy who has to like give disclaimers and say like, oh, well, like everyone else, like, like, oh, you guys are just so working hard. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being a fucking loser. You have to like give all these cute little fucking disclaimers to like make sure the losers don't feel bad. you're gonna get this shame, so you better be ready for it, right? Because you need to hold fast in your identity as an ambitious man who is going to stay like this from now till the day that you die. Even when you've got millions in the bank, you still will want to grind hard. Trust me. What will happen to you is you will have periods where you will stop grinding because you don't need to. It might be about a year or 2 years from now for the average person who's watching this, like for our community. Probably about 1 to 2 years from now, you'll have a few $100,000 in your bank account. Let's say over 100K, you'll have just cash and you'll be making income 10, 25K, 30K a month. Once you've maintained over like 15, 25K a month for over like a year, 2 years, 3 years, and if you go even higher, 50, 100K, mashallah. Once you've maintained that, you will start to get these thoughts where you're like, yeah, money is stupid. Like, why is like everyone spending their time on it? Money doesn't even do anything. But it's not about the money. Like, sure, at the first level, it is about the money. You know, it's at the first level, it's about getting rich. I won't lie to you, it is. And there's nothing wrong with that because getting money helps you in so many ways. But after a while, it stops being about the money and it stops being about more of like your just life quality, your brain, about having a challenge, a project. It's about fostering a sense of community in your work, about acquiring skills and developing them and becoming a master in your industry. That's what really like after the first few years when you become financially free, which again 2 to 4 years from now for most guys here, let's say about 4 years for anyone watching this, you could become financially free. If you're in your 20s and you've got about $500,000 cash, you're basically financially free at that point if you put it into some investments and whatever. You're not like rich, but you are like you're richer than basically 99.999% of young men. Obviously, if you maintain an extra 10K a month past that, it's like you're awesome. And if you're making 50K a month, 100, it's like, bro, that's rich right there, right? Once you have made more than enough money, expect to realize like getting rich was stupid and meaningless. But I need you to try and remember this. Try and like write this down somewhere. Like I want you to like preemptively save yourself from like the 9 months that I wasted like getting into gay little spirituality and all this. You know, just like just overthinking bullshit. Like, yeah, what is my purpose? Money's not even like valuable anymore. It's not about the money. Once you hit that point when you start thinking, yeah, money's not valuable. Like you know, what am I even doing with my life? That's when you need to remind yourself that, yeah, it's not about the money. It's the fact that this work is actually good for me. I'm contributing to people's lives. I'm helping, like, you know, whatever your industry is, if you're a YouTuber and you're an educator or whatever. I'm making the world better. I'm developing skills. My brain is literally healthier because of the fact that I have like this purposeful work which challenges me. Like your brain literally changes like fucking shape and size when you work hard and you acquire skills and you become a master at something. Like that is amazing. And then you've got to think, it's not like I'm not just doing this for money. Money is just like a side effect of me becoming a master at something. Money is just like the score which shows me how good I am at the skill. So for the first few years, so this is for you right now, over the next 1 to 2 years, it will be about the money. And don't feel bad about that. I want to change in our community this perspective that like wanting to get rich is like a bad thing. I think materialism is like an insecure thing, right? Materialism is like, I'm going to buy a watch because I hope other people see me with the watch and they might like me more. That's insecure, right? Spending money on shit that you don't need. If it's something you really want, I get it. You know, if it's a car that drives really nicely, whatever. If it's a suit and it looks awesome, sure, whatever. But, you know, materialism is more of this like insecurity kind of thing of like, you know what, like all these girls here, like they'll buy this bag, which is $2,000 because they hope that other girls will see it and basically it kind of mogs them. That comes from a bit of like insecurity, but it's understandable, whatever. But the pursuit of wealth and of good finances, there's nothing wrong with that. That's a fucking important endeavor in life. Don't get into this like ungroomed spirituality of like, yeah, it's not important. Because you saw me, I lived like that in like 2023 when I made more than enough money. And I'm telling you, those periods of my life, they were so much worse, even though everyone else would have thought that I was like so mature. They were worse. You don't want to become like an ungroomed, spiritual little fucking smelly guy who's like, oh yeah, you know, money's not even important, whatever. Because it fucking is. Don't get delusional. So over the next few years, your goal will be money, and that's absolutely okay. Align to that, make money. I would say to do it in a purposeful and moral way. So don't become some fucking gay, soulless fucking drop shipper, crypto, all that gay shit. But anytime, this is my own values, but anytime someone tells me that they're in that kind of industry of like trading or drop shipping, I basically just don't speak to them after. I just find that so fucking cringe. It's just like that's such a purposeless way where like they're just trying to make the money. I urge you to make money in a way that's purposeful. If you're like, for example, I'm an educator. When I give you insights and I help you with the knowledge that I pass to you in this content and in my programs, I make money. So the millions of dollars that I've made, like I've made about maybe $2.5 million at profit, is that reflects how much knowledge I've just given to the world. To me, that's so fucking cool. Like, can you just put yourself in my shoes and think like the way that I make money is by giving knowledge to people. I go out into the real world and I get scars by like living life, by having mistakes and failures and trying shit. And then I come to my platforms and to my products and just pass that knowledge on to you so that you can learn the same lesson without the scar. And whatever the number in my bank account says basically just reflects like how good and the quantity of the knowledge that I've passed to people. Like that, do you see how fucking cool and purposeful that is? That like, even if there was no money involved, that's such a cool way to live your life because it's purposeful. There's a skill. Like my skills are like storytelling, teaching. Do you see how that's like such a good way to make money that you should have no like sort of second thought into like working hard on that? So for the next few years, you're going to focus on money, and I urge you to do it in a really moral, purposeful way. And once you hit this point, maybe put this in your fucking calendar, right? On Google Calendar, go ahead 1 year, 2 years, and put like a weird reminder, put like the link to this video or something, because you might turn into one of these fucking ungroomed spiritual, like just fucking pussies who are like, yep, no point doing anything now. Now I'll just kind of sit around and do fucking nothing. And then you'll just be bored like I was. And you need this reminder like, yeah, at first it was about the money. Now it's just about mastery. It goes from money to mastery. What skill do you want to become fucking sick at? And you may as well just accept money from people who want more of that skill from you. So if the skill is like teaching, educating like I am, well, as soon as you offer a paid product, it's like anyone who wants more help from you gets to just pay you money for that. Because I can accept no payments and just make content for free, and I can help people on this level. But there's someone who would literally get an ROI from paying me money so that they can get more of my help. So like, why not accept that deal? And okay, I don't need more money, but it's just kind of, it's like a game now. It's like you don't need more levels on a video game. You know, once you get to like level 90, you've unlocked all the swords, but you can go up to level 99. You've already got all of them. And it's like, you might say like, oh, well, I'll just stop here. And you could do, because it's kind of more efficient and stuff, but it's just kind of more fun getting more and more experience in the skill that you care about. This is like the opposite of getting complacent and of your brain like dying early. Like people who don't read and continue improving their skills are more likely to get Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease. You want to be like a student for life. You would never want to stop improving. What do you improve on? Well, the skill in which your work relies on. Let's say if this concept of like, social media content or whatever is always going to stay, who knows, with like AI and robots or whatever. But let's say it always is like the passage of knowledge, whatever. Then I'll keep leveling up the skill of storytelling, the skill of educating. So then at some point, 10 years from now, I'll be a master storyteller. I'll be one of the best storytellers to have ever existed. Does that not like fucking blow your mind? Like that is the pursuit. That's why like get rich or die trying is such an important phrase, because I want you to have the confidence to think, yeah, like this is actually a good path. There's nothing wrong with me first desiring the money and then continuing to work fucking hard afterwards. Because if we're not going to do this, what do? We turn into fucking degenerates. I'm not above telling you right now that in those seasons where I'm not working as hard, I turn into like the same Jeffrey degenerate as always. Like my number of ejaculations inversely correlates to how hard I'm working on my business. When I'm working really hard, I won't jack off. I won't eat shit food. I'll go to sleep on time. When I'm in this gay little spiritual, like, money doesn't matter and everyone's just wasting their time with desire, like, just meditate and do nothing else and just be cute. It's like all this self-improvement teenager bullshit. Then I'm like, that's when I actually do worse self-improvement habits. That's why these days, like I'm so ruthless with the sort of content I'm consuming now, where I don't want to hear from any pussy who doesn't have this ambition of growth, of success, of like relentless achievements. Because I have had those periods where I didn't care about achievements and where I did. And I'm telling you, the ones that I did, my life was just so much better. So I want to give you one last little bit of advice here. I did something which I really recommend you to do as well. I got a journal out, like one of these ones. It was actually this one right here. And I wrote down every month over the last few years. So imagine I wrote down like 2020, January, all the way December, 2021. I did that. Okay, imagine all of that. And then looking back over my photo album, you know, the pictures and the videos of each time. So imagine I scroll on my photos to January 2020 and I see roughly, you know, the pictures that are there kind of reminds you of what life was like during that like month of your life. And I just wrote next to the month, good or bad. Was January 2020 good or was it bad? I'd write one word and then move on to the next one, scroll up my photo album. Okay, in February 2020, I was in the same apartment. Oh yeah, this is when I was, oh yeah, that picture. Oh, so that was when we went on this trip. Or you get my point, right? Oh, that was a bad month. And I did this all the way through so that I could just give my own subjective, you know, it's not completely accurate, but my subjective interpretation of whether life was good or bad for every month over the last few years. You could just do this for like the last year, for example, but I did this over like 5 years since 2020. And I wanted to know what correlates with me thinking a month was good or not. There was only two things. One, which is a bit of a side note, but it was fitness. If I was training harder than I actually needed, that's when I always would have thought it was a good month. So it wasn't just that I was like, you know, going to the gym casually or whatever, you know, taking an extra few rest days or whatever. But it was when I was like dialed into my fitness. Fitness 100% correlated with me writing if it was a good month or not. So I remember particular months, you know, like 3 months in a row, for example, where I was like particularly fit and I'm seeing on my photo album, there was tons of like shirtless pictures or tons of like content from me in the park that I used to train at or whatever. Or, you know, I remember in 2024 last year, the months that I trained with like a particular friend for the first like 5 months of the year or so. So fitness perfectly correlated with like a great life. So that was one thing. That's just a separate point. But the pursuit, the mindless, retarded pursuit of achievement and money was actually another one. When I was in the sort of retard mode of like, yep, get subscribers, get money, life was good in those months. When I was in the spiritual kind of, you know, like the cute, mature thing of like, yeah, you know, I'm humble and I don't care about money or whatever. Those months I actually look back and say they were bad. I remember those months and I was like, yeah, like you were jacking off in those months. That's so unlike me. You've been on NoFap for like 10 years. I remember you jacked off in like this month loads of times and you would just sit around scrolling on reels and shit. It's so interesting. You were doing nothing. For me, the months over the last few years that have actually been positive were the ones where I was getting rich or dying trying. The top link in the description for this video is going to be a new school community that I've just made. It's for free and it's on this topic of get rich or die trying. So you can go ahead and join that and basically join the discussions, the community forums where you can talk about like your pursuit of money, entrepreneurship, success, productivity, work habits. It's going to be for guys who are above 18, but preferably more about 22 years old. And it's locked to just talking about this topic right here because I wanted to like really have like a page for some of my older guys who are on the same journey that I am. Because this is a separate point, but I'll just tell you here. You can click off this video if you don't care about my sort of personal life or anything, but I've been in the self-improvement space for the last 4 years. In fact, I was like the face of the self-improvement niche. And it served me well. It's awesome. But I just feel like I've outgrown it now. Like I'm a 27-year-old fucking grown man and me talking about like how to kiss a girl in high school or how to like, how to stop, I don't know, like how to like fucking, your body language and, you know, that kind of stuff. It's like, yeah, it's important, but it's just there's other people now who can better help the teenagers who basically need to fix their lives and like, you know, become a human being. You know, there's other people who can talk about that. For me, it's not really like relevant anymore. It's not the space that I want to be at. I want to speak to the guys who are in their 20s, even 30s, For guys who are on the same path, who, for example, realize the importance of purpose, work, success, productivity, and money, because that's what I've realized. And for so long, I've kind of stopped myself from speaking about these topics because my old audience, the teenagers, they hated me for talking about this stuff because to them, money doesn't matter. To them, when they heard me talk about money, they instantly just saw it as like some weird scammy thing because they only care about like their hairstyles and shit like that. Of course, there might be a 16-year-old watching this thinking, oh yeah, like I know, like Hamza, I'm sorry, my generation are fucking gay as fuck. I'm not like that. And you're welcome here if you're like a 16-year-old watching this and you're like, you're a fucking man, basically. But yeah, I just got sick of like just like trying to appeal to children, needing to make videos on like fucking hairstyles and stuff. And I'll still try and help those kids every now and then. You'll see me post about like looks maxing or something every now and then because it's important, sure. I understand that. But I just wanted to talk about more deeper things. Like work is the most important thing in my life. And I want to accumulate an audience of people who it's the most important thing in your life as well. So you're probably like getting excited for this if you're the type of guy that I'm aiming this towards because you're thinking, fuck yeah, finally Hamza's going to mature his content and actually speak to what your biggest priority is. My insight for this was from my community, Adonis School. So I have like a paid community, which is just for guys who like work is the most important thing. And they basically just want to copy my business model. So I help them to do that. And every time I would do like polls inside of this paid community, where you can do like a questionnaire and stuff, I was always surprised because it was always so different from when I would do that on my YouTube channel. So on my big YouTube channel, the 2 million subscriber one, when I would do a poll like, how old are you? Most guys were under 18 years old. Most guys were about 15 to 16 years old. When I did that same poll on Adonis School, so basically what symbolizes people who are my top fans, the ones who paid for my product, who, are supporting me and my family business, the average age was 22. I realized there was such a big difference. And there was one more as well. I said, what's your biggest goal? What's like the thing you want to work on the most? What's like the most important thing to you right now? In Adonis School, it was work and money all the time. You would be so surprised of how skewed the poll results were on work and money compared to dating, self-improvement, looks maxing, fitness, everything. On my YouTube channel, it's always more about like the sort of, teenager stuff like looks maxing, dating, quitting porn or whatever. And again, I'm not shitting on those things because that like those are good things. I'm not saying they're bad things. It's just that like there's 18-year-old self-improvement YouTubers who can talk about that now. What am I supposed to talk about like quitting TikTok when I've never fucking used it? How am I supposed to talk about like rizzing up girls? Like I didn't even like what the fuck is rizz? Like that's not for me, you get my point, right? It's like I'm 27 years old. I remember there was a girl I was seeing who she told me that like her friends had seen my YouTube channel and like girlfriends talk and all this shit, right? And I was like, I wasn't gonna get hurt over it, but I asked her like, Joy, just be honest with me, like what did they think? And she was an honest girl. She told me, she was like, yeah, like some of the videos are kind of cringe. And I nodded and I was like, yeah, which ones? And I wanted to hear exactly which video she'd say. And she was like, yeah, like, because you're like a grown man. You're an adult. You're a mature guy. But then hearing you talk about like how to like kiss a girl or something, hearing you talk about that was really cringe. Like my friends cringed at that. And like, I didn't even get offended because I agreed with it. And I needed to hear that from someone else because I was like, yeah, like I agree with you. It is fucking cringe. I'm a grown man talking about like children's topics. Like leave that for the teenagers. Now, for me, it wasn't even authentic for me anymore because for me, looks maxing and dating hasn't been the most important thing in my life for like fucking 5-10 years straight. The most important thing in my life is my work. And if you're watching this, the most important thing in your life is work. And I'd rather actually help you because me and you are more likely to like actually have like some kind of bond, some like some value exchange. Basically, if I help you with your biggest goal in life, which is your work, and you think, wow, Hamza has so many good ideas, he's helped me so much, eventually you'll be more likely to join my paid products, which is how I support me and my family, and it's how I get rich or die trying. So it's like, this is the relationship that I actually want to build. By all means, I want to help the teenagers where I can, but it's like those topics just fucking piss me off, bro. I had this free community, maybe you even joined it, called Adonis Gang. So I have Adonis School, the one I talk about, which is the paid one, right? And Adonis Gang was this free one. And every now and then I'd just scroll on it and I'd be like, fuck me. It's just like teenagers just talking about cringe shit. And I can't blame them. That's the thing. Because like they're 16 years old. When I was 16, I was talking about the same shit as well. Like, oh, hey guys, does my hair look good or whatever shit like that. So I can't blame them. But like, it was just yesterday where I sat down and I was thinking about the kind of person I wanted to attract, which is most likely you, whose work is his priority. And I thought, if I get you to join this free community, you're not gonna like it. Like, imagine if I told you, oh yeah, join this free community, not the one that I linked here today, but a different one, and you joined, and the average age of guys in there was like 15 or 16. And imagine there's like arrogant 15-year-olds who like this one post saying like, yeah, like there's 7 girls in my class who've got a crush on me. You know what I mean? Like, if you saw that, you'd be like, oh, this is a bit cringe. Like, why did Hamza send me here? Okay, I'm probably not going to look at Hamza's stuff anymore. Like, you know, his communities, his links, whatever. I'll watch his videos, whatever. But it'd make you kind of think like, oh yeah, Hamza's stuff isn't for me, right? Because that's all come from my main channel where I literally made like fucking cartoon videos. That's why I'm starting like the whole kind of new chapter where I'm niching down on like a new avatar, which is like a young man in his 20s who is like hungry for success, who work is his priority in life because he's a fucking masculine man, not a feminine little teenager who's, you know, trying to like think about his hair and all that shit, right? And so for you, basically, I hope that you're going to be super happy about this because there's going to be so much more things that I'm doing for the kind of guy like you who's in his 20s. Work is your priority. Money is the constraint in your life. You still want to basically, you know, you want to look handsome. I'm not overlooking that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that looks maxing like is a bad thing or anything. But it's that, yeah, like you want to look handsome, but there's more things to fucking input. Like, you know, like work is the priority of your life. So that link in the description, the Get Rich or Die Trying free community, that's going to be for guys like us. And I'm going to tell the moderators in there, any fucking kids who are talking about something which is like off topic, like looks maxing or anything cringe, just ban them. This isn't for them. If you're a child watching this, no offense, but if you're like, you know, a 15-year-old kid and you want to talk about that topic, by all means join. That's fine. It's like age is fine. It's just like what topics we're going to talk about. It's just for guys where the biggest priority in their lives is work, and particularly more niches, like if you particularly would get into a personal branding business. Basically, you want to copy my business model where I post on social media, I sell my audience a product, and I make millions of dollars doing that. It's the business that I've done, so I can literally teach you just how you can copy mine, and it's been working well for my students inside of Adonis School. So yeah, full disclaimer, this is a business for me. Of course it is. I'm like helping you for free. I'm spilling some secrets to you. I'm giving you a competitive advantage. And so I want to make money from that. So when you are watching my content, when you've joined the new free community and you're thinking, wow, like this, like the free stuff that Hamza is giving me is already so insightful. When you want to take it to the next level and you trust me enough, that's when you'll notice that there's links to like my paid stuff. So when you do trust me enough, you can give that stuff a try, and I will give you my promise that I'll try and help you as much as possible so that you actually get an ROI on your purchase. So hopefully I want this to be like a good equal give and take relationship, if you get what I mean. I'm not going to lie to you and do the teenage shit of like, you know, I just make these videos. I don't care about money. I'm just want to help you guys for free. No. I'm here because this is like a fucking business, because I like this game. That's it. Anyone who doesn't like that shouldn't watch me anymore, and they can go watch like the teenagers who want to pretend to be friends with each other. I'm here to give you a competitive advantage in your work, to help you to become more successful, to help you make money, to help you be taken more seriously, to increase your status. And if that is what you've wanted and you're fucking nodding, being like, yeah, that's fucking awesome. Like, that's my priority in life. My work is my priority. It's the biggest thing in my life. This channel especially is going to be for you, but also surprise, I'm going to post on my main channel again, more like higher effort scripted videos with high production and everything, kind of like Alex Hormozi's, like full guides, like 1 hour long and everything. Obviously, get ready for a fucking battlefield in the comments when all the kids are getting angry that I'm not posting about fucking porn and looks maxing or whatever. But I just want to help this kind of person. So yeah, that's just my thoughts on YouTube, my little life update if you cared. And yeah, go join that community, and I think you'll find some value in there, being able to discuss this kind of concept of like get rich or die trying. Goodbye.